Born in 287 BC in the seaport city of Syracuse in Sicily, Archimedes is considered the greatest scientist of antiquity and one of the greatest of all time. However, despite his important contributions to pure mathematics, he is best remembered by this famous scene where he runs wet and naked through the streets, shouting, "Eureka!" an ancient Greek word meaning "I found it." Apparently, he'd been running a bath and filled it right to the top with water, then got in without thinking. On noticing the water spilling over the edge, he calculated that the amount of it lost was the same as his own volume. And this discovery excited him so much it led to the infamous street scene. True story or anecdote, clearly this was a man who enjoyed his maths. So what is volume exactly? Volume is a measure of how much space is inside an object or how much space the object takes up. It is always measured in 3 dimensions using linear measurements, like centimeters and meters, cubed. For example, if this cube had equal sides of 5 centimeters, its volume would be 125 cubic centimeters, meaning you could fit 125 little 1 centimeter cubes inside it. A right prism is a geometric solid that has 2 identical bases, one directly above the other. It is called a right prism because it has lateral or side faces, at right angles to the base. This would not be a right prism because although the bases may be identical, they are not positioned directly above each other and therefore the faces are not at 90 degrees to the base. The volume of any right prism can be found using the formula volume equals the area of the base multiplied by the height. You can find many examples of rectangular prisms in real life, like this cereal box for example. The base of a rectangular prism is a rectangle. We can calculate the area of the base using length times breadth. Multiply this by the height to find the volume of the box. A cube is a special type of rectangular prism where all sides are equal. Here is one example of a cube. The base of a cube is a square. You can calculate its area by squaring the length of one side. Then multiply the area calculated by the height to get the volume of the cube. A triangular prism has a triangular base, like this. The difference between a triangular prism and a pyramid is that the triangular prism has 2 identical bases, one directly on top of the other, whereas a pyramid has a single base and sloping sides. We can find the volume of a triangular prism using our usual formula. Remember, the area of a triangle is found by multiplying 1/2 by the base and the perpendicular height. Then multiply this area by the height of the prism to get the volume. A cylinder has a curved vertical surface, but it is still an example of a right prism as it has 2 identical bases that are aligned one above the other. We calculate the volume of a solid cylinder the same way we've been doing so far. First, find the area of the base. For a circle, we use pi r squared for this. And then multiply by the height of the cylinder. Note that the diameter of the cylinder here is 6 centimeters, so we divide it by 2 to get the value of the radius, which is 3. We also use the fraction 22/7 to approximate the value of pi. But what happens if the cylinder is hollow, like a concrete pipe? A pipe is just a solid cylinder that has had the inside removed. So, if we can find the volume of a solid concrete pipe, and we can find the volume of the inside cylindrical bit that has been removed, then we can find the volume of the actual pipe. Here, I'll show you an example and find the dimensions of this pipe. The outside diameter of the pipe is 2.5 meters. The inside diameter is 2 meters and the length of the pipe is 7 meters. We'd said that we could find the volume of the pipe by taking the volume of a solid pipe of the same size and subtracting the hollow middle bit from this. So we can use this formula here and insert our values like so, for the outside and the inside. And the volume of this hollow concrete pipe is 12.375 meters cubed. Again, we have used the fraction 22/7 in this calculation to approximate the value of pi. We've worked out the volume of material that is needed to make a pipe this size, which is a pretty useful trick to know. The important thing to remember when calculating the volume of cylinders is that there are two different radii, the outside and the inside hollow bit. And don't forget, if you're given a diameter, you divide it in half to find the radius. We've said that we can find the volume of any right prism using the same formula. But what about if we are looking at a solid that is not a right prism? What if we need to find the volume of a cone or a sphere or a hemisphere? Luckily, we have formulae that will help us to do just this. To find the volume of a cone, we would use... Do you notice anything interesting about this formula? A cone has a volume that is exactly 1/3 of the volume of a cylinder with the same base. To find the volume of a sphere, we would use... And for a hemisphere? The volume of a hemisphere is exactly half the volume of a sphere. So to find the volume of a hemisphere, we would use the same formula as for a sphere, and then multiply this by a half. Learn these formulae and practice working with them. They'll help you answer any questions you are given about the volume of a solid shape.